qui vous offre une autre vision du monde.
In Mali, the president of the transitional government, Colonel Assimi Goïta, on Tuesday, August 9, graced the handover ceremony of military aircraft and equipment from Russia to the Malian forces. We shall equally take you to the Democratic Republic of Congo in the course of this newscast, where Blinken, while on his trip to the RC, evoked questions of strategic partnership, regional security, bilateral trade, climate change, amongst others. Hello Africa and the world, this is the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over For You Television. I am Jake Nabse for presentation. So for today's 6 p.m. primetime newscast, we shall be taking you to Mali, where the president of the transitional government, Colonel Assimi Goïta, on Tuesday, August 9, chaired the official handover ceremony of aircraft and military equipment for the Malian armed forces. According to Malian authorities, these gifts will help the country create conducive conditions for lasting peace. The details are in the following report. The president of Mali's transitional government, His Excellency Colonel Assimi Goïta, on Tuesday, August 9, 2022, chaired the official handover ceremony of a large batch of aircraft and equipment for the Malian armed forces. The historic event was attended by the Prime Minister, the ambassador of the Russian Federation, and the Air Force veterans. According to Malian authorities, the capabilities of the Air Force has just been reinforced thanks to the new acquisitions of L-39 and Sakua 25 type fighter planes, Mi-24P type attack helicopters, Mi-8, as well as a second Airbus Kaza 295 tactical airlifter. Through these new acquisitions, we are given a boost to the rise of our forces, rejoiced Colonel Sadio Kamara, Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs. According to him, the objective of the authorities of the transition is to rebuild the Malian army to be more professional, well-equipped, well-trained, endowed with good morale, closer to the people from which it comes and dominating the space. The military officials specified that an army will reflect the warrior values of Mali, before indicating that the ambition is to fight first to win the wars imposed on the Malian nation and then create the conditions for lasting peace. Brigadier General Ali Bur Diarra, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, on his part specified that this batch of equipment received from the Russian government does not have a prestige vocation like the fleet of the Air Force has sometimes been perceived for, adding that the ambition is to build an army of action, operations combat capable and decisive at the right time. Amid all these celebrations, it should be noted that these gifts come at a time when Mali is facing an insecurity crisis and Russia is making its presence felt on the African continent, especially in the West African nation, where France and foreign presence as well as interference is gradually being eradicated. We now take you back to Kenya, where, of course, on August 9, the Kenyans headed to the polls to vote for a new president. After Kenyans' voting process for the elections of their new president, vote counting began immediately after the exercise in the different voting centers of the East African country. According to sources, the elections went on hitch-free. Moni Manu tells us more.
Kenya voted for a new president on Tuesday against a backdrop of economic hardship and growing disenchantment with the political elite, with voting largely peaceful but producing low turnout in some areas. The country is hoping for an orderly transition of power after almost a decade under two-term President Uhuru Kenyatta, but concerns about vote rigging linger after past election disputes triggered deadly unrest. Deputy President and Israel heir apparent William Ruto, 55, is running against Raila Odinga, the 77-year-old veteran, opposition leader now backed by longtime rival Kenyatta after a stunning shift in allegiances. Voters lined up well before dawn to cast their ballots in what has been billed as a key test for democracy in a country where ordinary people have become frustrated with political leaders and their failure to deliver on their promises. By 4 p.m., 10 hours after polling began, turnout was just over 56% of the 22 million registered voters, according to the Independent Electoral and Business Commission. Comparable figures for the August 2017 election were not immediately available, but overall turnout then reached 78%. Polls were due to close at 5 p.m. with some stations reporting sparse turnout as they shut their doors. Others continued to host queues of waiting voters, while polling stations whose opening was delayed will stay open till later.
Away from that story, let's now talk the visit of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken to the Democratic Republic of Congo here on the African continent, where bilateral trade, security and environmental protections were the main points of focus, which the U.S. Secretary of State elaborated during his visit in the Democratic Republic of Congo with President Felix Tshisekedi on his tour to the African continent. The details are with Mwanze Joyogo.
U.S. Ambassador Antony Blinken arrived in Congo's capital, Kinshasa, on August 9th, continuing his three-leg tour of the African continent. According to the U.S. Department of State, Blinken's meeting with Congo's government officials and civil society groups is to talk on bilateral trade and investment, climate change, human rights issues, environmental conservation, and regional security. Blinken is expected to encourage solutions to the violence in eastern Congo, where attacks have increased dramatically in recent months. Earlier this week, the Secretary of State met with South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa and International Relations Minister Naledi Pandor for talks on climate change, food insecurity, and the war in Ukraine. The friendly meeting did not hide the differences between the U.S. and South Africa over the Russian-Ukrainian war, as South Africa remained neutral on the war. His visit to Africa is seen by many as part of the contest between the Western powers and Russia for influence in Africa amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. Rwanda is his last three-leg tour of the African continent.
We stay in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the former head of the presidential party there in the country, who recently switched to the opposition, was arrested on Tuesday in Kinshasa and transferred to prison in connection with proceedings for contempt of the head of state, a judicial source said. The details are with our student journalist, Ewane Epule.
Member of Parliament and Vice President of the National Assembly, Jean-Marc Coubon, has been placed under a provisional arrest warrant in Makala prison in the capital of Congo after an interrogation. After being expelled from the presidential party, the Union of Democracy and Social Progress, UDPS, and having resigned from his post as first Vice President of the Congolese National Assembly, Jean-Marc Coubon went to opposition in July 2022. When announcing the creation of his own political party, Alliance of Change, Mr. Coubon denounced a number of negative aspects occurring in the camp of President Felix Tshisekedi, notably the absence of a clear vision, incompetence and mismanagement characterized by recklessness and irresponsibility. Mr. Coubon equally said harsh words against the chambers of parliament under President Tshisekedi. According to him, the parliament has become a place for dealing with irrelevant subjects. His arrest comes at a time when the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is visiting Kinshasa, where he has met with Mr. Tshisekedi. Voices are rising more and more in the Democratic Republic of Congo DRC, denouncing the arrest of opponents in the country. According to Floribert Anzuluni, an activist of the pro-Filimbi democracy, the strength of regime is in power since January 2019 in the DRC and risks to compromise the holding of free, credible, and timely elections in 2023.
At least 15 soldiers have been killed in a bomb blast in the city of Burkina Faso. The military vehicles in question drove over an improvised explosive device. Authorities are currently carrying out investigations into this sad incident. The details are with you, Moni Manu.
At least 15 soldiers have been killed in a roadside bomb blast in the Bam province, found in the central northern regions of Burkina Faso. The military vehicle in question drove over a hidden explosive, killing several troops, and a second explosion occurred when another troop rushed to their aid. The attack comes less than a week after armed fighters killed 4 soldiers and 9 civilian army volunteers in another ambush. The region which the sad incident occurred is a zone where armed groups frequently target civilians and soldiers. Many armed groups in the Bam region are linked to the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS terrorist group. More than 530 violent incidents occurred between February and May in the country, more than the level during the same period of 2021, according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. The violence has displaced more than 1.8 million people in Burkina Faso and has killed thousands across the West African Sahel region.
Thank you, Mwanze Joyogo, for that report. Let's now head to Guinea, where the National Front for the Defense of the Constitution, created in April 2019, is accused to have endangered public peace and living together. Fotso has the rest of that story.
And of course, for the FNDC, it's now official. The National Front for the Defense of the Constitution has been dissolved. The announcement was made by the authorities of the Guinean-Bissau Transitional Government through an order of the Ministry of Territorial Administration and Decentralization. Considering that this de facto group organized in a hierarchical manner with administrators and violent members, jeopardizing national unity, public peace and living together, does not appear on the list of non-governmental organizations in the Republic of Guinea, nor on the list of association collectives in the Republic of Guinea, and even less in the directory of non-governmental organizations approved in the Republic of the country. The de facto grouping known as the National Front for the Defense of the Constitution is dissolved, the transitional government of Guinea announced in a press release. An announcement that comes as the citizen movement created in April 2019 plans new demonstration in the country on August 17, 2022. For the moment, the FNDC has decided not to react to this decision. This group announced on Monday that it will organize a citizen and peaceful demonstration on Sunday, August 14, 2022 in Brussels, and on Wednesday, August 17, 2022 throughout the national territory of Guinea, in accordance with Article 20 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 21 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 11 of the African Charter of Human and People's Rights, 34th and 8th paragraph 2 of the Guinean Transitional Charter. The National Front for the Defense of the Constitution of Coalition of Parties, Trade Unions and Civil Society Organizations was already behind the demonstration on July 28 and 29 to denounce the unilateral management of the transitional by the military power in transition. Prohibited by the authorities, these generated and 5 people were killed. Following this demonstration, the Minister of Justice, Alphonse Charles Wright, threatened to dissolve the FNDC. According to him, this group does not have a legal existence in the country. In adding, all organizations that do not have a legal existence in the days to come, their activities will be prohibited as soon as possible. This is particularly the case of the FNDC, has declared the ministry in a media release. On August 1st, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, called on the Guinean authorities, the political class and civil society to engage in an inclusive dialogue in order to diffuse tension and agree on a timetable and reasonable modalities for the peaceful restoration of constitutional order.
Away from Guinea, we stay in the region, but this time around with Nigeria, where suspected gunmen who killed dozens of worshippers during a church service in the southwestern part of the country in June have been arrested. They were caught on Tuesday, August 9, according to Nigeria's top military general, Leo Irabo. This comes 2 months after attacks which shocked many in the West African nation, as you tell us, Moni Manu.
General Leo Irabo, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff, said they have arrested those behind the act in Owo. Neither Irabo nor the police who confirmed the arrest to the press provided further details into the development. The Nigerian general, however, said investigations are still ongoing, and in due course the world will see them and others who are behind other daring attacks in the country. The gunmen stormed the St. Francis Catholic Church in Ondo State just as the worshippers gathered on Pentecost Sunday and killed at least 40 of them. The incident shocked many in Ondo, which is one of Nigeria's most peaceful states and had been largely spared by the violent attacks across the West African nation, particularly in the troubled north, where Islamic extremist rebels of Boko Haram and other armed groups operate. The church attack in Owo had the imprints of the Islamic State of West African Province, an offshoot of Boko Haram. Security analysts have since last year warned that the Islamic rebels in Nigeria's north are now spreading to other parts of the country. Bishop Jude Arogundade of Ondo Catholic Diocese said residents in Ondo and the church in Nigeria were already getting frustrated that after 2 months people came to kill 40 people and they did not have any information about it. He also added that the Catholic Church has not been informed yet of the arrest and continues to wait to hear the motive. Because they are a peaceful organization, they don't get into politics or into controversial issues.
To wrap up this newscast, we now talk Cameroon, where the head of state, President Paul Biya, has signed a 10-page document to regulate municipal policing in the country after several complaints from road users. Takewana read through the document and now reports.
Over the years in Cameroon, there has been growing controversies surrounding the job description of council police officials, especially in big cities like Douala and Yaoundé, where most at times the said actors compare themselves to be part of the national police force. This was so because it was difficult to differentiate the uniforms council police wear with that of the national police force. In a quick response, Decentralization and Local Development Minister George Elanga Obama on April 7, 2021 instructed senior divisional officers in the country to ensure the conformity of council police uniforms to the regulations in force as stipulated in Section 216, Law Number 2009/024 of December 2019, to institute the General Code of Regional and Local Authorities. As if to say that wasn't enough, the bone of contention continued, as most at times the said municipal police officials do abandon their responsibilities while on the field to help maintain public order, like traffic congestion, to harass the local population by demanding their national identification document or car documents for car owners. Oh yes, that's how we got here, as corruption continues digging deep in our society. Nevertheless, to help rip off such malaise in our society, the head of state, President Paul Biya, on August 9, 2022, signed a decree defining the conditions for carrying out municipal policing in Cameroon henceforth. Article 2 in the decree says municipal policing shall be to maintain order, safety, tranquility, security and public sanitation in their respective council areas. That is to say, cleaning, street lightening, clearing congestions, demolition or repairing buildings in danger of collapse, removing items or substances which may cause damage or harmful exertions, facilitating road crossing for pupils, students and other users. Meanwhile, with regard to their uniformity, the presidential decree states it clearly that a pair of dark purple trousers for male, a straight dark purple skirt below knee level for female staff who may also put on trousers, a long or short sleeve shirt, light purple in color with the word Police Municipal or Municipal Police in large letters at the back, followed by the name of the council, is the new outfit to identify a municipal police official. A municipal police officer, the decree warns, may not carry or use weapon in the discharge of their responsibilities. Municipal officials have been given 18 months to comply to the changes and give peace a chance in our big cities in Cameroon.
Thank you, Takewana, for that report. Africa and the World, that will be it for the 6 p.m. primetime newscast over your Pan-African channel for you television. I have been Jakes Nabise for presentation. As you follow our transmission, God bless Africa, and of course, see you tomorrow when it shall be 5 p.m. in Accra, Ghana.